In this video, I'll show you how to create a touch playlist and using the tools provided, add functionality to it. So let's start by going to touch, touch again, and we're going to press add just to create a new touch playlist. So I'm just going to name this as an example, just test followed by some numbers. And then we need to make sure the resolution matches the orientation of the screen we want this to be published to. So in this case, I want this to be published to a horizontal screen. So I'm just going to select this as horizontal resolution and then press OK. And now we can actually either add a different background color to the playlist, or we can also add a media file. So if I select here, I already have one that I've already uploaded earlier. So I'm just going to go into my touch folder and I'm going to select the next page here. And then I'm going to select this one here. As you can see, it's a nice background that will fit the example here. And if I want to upload an image, I can actually do it straight from here. So I can select here, press here, and then select the images that you want to be uploaded to the system. You can do it straight from here and then just find it through your folder. So now I've selected this, I'm just going to press OK and then press OK again. I'm just going to drag this a little bit out of the way. So this is quite good for being able to get a bit more vision on what you want to see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding buttons to associate to different pages. So the way to think of this is kind of like a web page. So a website even. So on a website, you obviously have the home page, and then you have different pages that lead to the different parts of the website. So in this case, we have an open gallery page, and we also have a visit website page. So this obviously would be like your company website or like just a random one for whichever you desire. And then the gallery would just be images that you put on there that you could sort of go through. So to do this, what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to actually rename this page. We're going to rename it homepage just to make it more understandable when we're associating it with this page. So if I press OK on here, I have to rename it to homepage. And now what I'm going to do is go over to the tools over here, and I'm going to select button area. So I'm just going to drag this here and then down like so. So as you can see, this looks like a fingerprint, and the idea is that this is a location that you can obviously touch with your finger. This won't be shown on the screen when it's published, but you can see it here just to understand where the buttons are. So now we've got that set up, I'm just going to do another one, same way as before. I'm just going to drag it to fill this area here. And now I'm going to add a video zone just to finish off this page. So I'm just going to select this image, for example, and I'm going to put it here. And this is very similar to how the non-touch playlist part works with the tools, the video zone and image zone and such. As you can see, that fits quite nicely there. And now I've created my home page, I want to create different pages for these buttons to associate with. So to do this, I'm just going to go over to here, press add scene, and then like before, we can either select a background color or we can select a media file to be the background. So I'm just going to do that again. So I press add media, go into my touch folder, and then I've already have one that's currently uploaded here, which will fit nicely. So if I just select that, followed by OK, and then OK again, and you can see this is already kind of set up to fill what we want. So we also have like a home design here. And what we can do with that is we can actually add a button to that area as well. So like before, we're just going to fill that gap like so. And then what we could do with this is now we have two pages, we can actually have this button do something. So in this case, if we go over to the right here, we'll see the action. So in this, the first default one is jump to page. So what we want to do is we actually want this to jump to page, and then we want it to jump to the home page. So to do this, we need to simply select the target here, and then we'll have this go to the home page here. So we're just going to select this, and you can see from there we're going to jump to page, home page. Okay. And now when this is touched on your screen, it will then jump back to this page. So now that this is a gallery, we're going to rename this to gallery just to make it more understandable, like so, and then press OK. And then we're just going to grab an image zone And we're just going to select any old one. So this one, for example, we're just going to change it how we want. So like the non-touch playlist, we can sort of go over to here and we can actually set the parameters to be exactly how we want them to be. So we can actually change the how it would look on like the X and also Y axis. And we can do that all through here to be more specific, and also the width and height of the zone. So that kind of matches your image that you've created a lot better. And now after we're happy with this page, let's go back to the home page. And then like before, we're just going to select the button, and we want this button here, sorry, this button here, we want this to be associated with the gallery. So if I just click this button, so like before, action, jump to page, target, and now we've just named that one gallery. We're going to select it here, as you can see, press OK, and now this button will then jump to the gallery page when it's pressed on your screen. And now we've created the gallery page, we want to create the website page. So like before, just add scene, and then we're going to add a background again, and we'll use the same one. OK, press OK again. And then like before, we're just going to add a button to this area, just so we know it goes back to the home page. And then over here, target, home page. Now you can see we've got two choices now. So this is the way we can sort of follow which one we want to go to with the buttons. So press OK on that. And now we're going to select the web page zone this time. And in this case, we need to put a URL in, but I'm going to just select a random one or type in a random one. So I have one here already, so BBC UK News. So obviously this could be your company web page, for example, and you could just basically have it so from the home page you could have, visit company website, and then it will just immediately lead to this page. And I'm just going to select the duration to be the maximum, which is 23 hours. And then let's say you have this be like, we could have this be essentially just all this area here, and the web page would just sort of fill this area. And then at the top you would have like the home button functionality. And you could also have other buttons that sort of lead off into other areas. So maybe you have like a button that says like go to this website instead, and then you would just create another page, and that will just be another website that's obviously a different one instead of the one I put here, which is in this case BBC UK News. So after we're happy with this, like before, we're just going to right click, rename it, and we're going to call this web page. Okay, then back to this home page again, click on this button, jump to page, targets, and then the web page that we just created and renamed. Okay, so there's one more thing we could do with the button. So if we create another button here, we can put this here and then just drag it over here like so. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to add an image to this button instead of having the background kind of set up for us. So as you see here, if I go down to the bottom, you'll see button image. So if I select this, and then I'm going to go into my folder, and like before, I already have these uploaded. So I'm just going to select this one here, press OK. And then I'm just going to drag this to fill a little bit better like so. And as you can see from the description, touch here to play video. So what we can do with this button, instead of opening into a different page like these ones have done previously, we can actually have this one play a video in a video zone. So this here that I've created earlier is actually a video zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back on the button again, and then instead of the action saying jump to page, I'm going to have the action be play in media zone. So I'm going to select the target to be the video zone that I have here. So this is the only one on the home page. So I'm just going to select this. So that's this one here. And then I'm just going to, lastly, at the bottom, I'm going to play media. So I'm just going to select a file to be played when I press this button. So if I go over to here, I'm going to go over to my video folder instead of the image one. And I'm just going to select a video, press OK. So now when this button is pressed on the screen after it's been published, it will begin to play that video and it will just loop instead of having this image here that we already have, for example. So essentially you could just have this be like a play button instead of the video immediately playing as soon as the page is entered. So it's quite useful for that. And now the last thing we're going to do is if I go up here and left click this here, we actually have more tools we can play with here. So what we can do here is we can actually set a timeout action for the touch playlist. So right now, the timeout action of this touch playlist does nothing, no action. But what we can have is after 10 minutes, which is already set as the default, we can actually have this do two things. So we can either have this enter project entrance. So what this means is after 10 minutes of this playlist not being interacted with on the touchscreen, it will then jump straight back to this home page here. So even if we were sitting on this page for 9 minutes and 59 seconds, as soon as the 10-minute mark hit, it would immediately jump back to this page. And obviously, if you have many different pages that all lead into different areas of a hierarchy, we can actually just have that go straight back to the home page so that customers can kind of understand where to start from if it's just kind of gone off in a different direction. Um, and then instead of enter project entrance, we can actually have this be a screensaver instead. So after 10 minutes, enter screensaver. So instead of jumping to the home page after it hasn't been interacted with, we can actually have this jump to a default non-touch playlist that we published earlier to the screen. So obviously this here is a touch playlist, and then we can also create a non-touch playlist similar to this in a video that you'll see beforehand, and they'll basically run alongside each other. And as soon as as soon as the timeout action begins and it jumps back to the screensaver or the default non-touch playlist, um, when you press a finger on the screen again, what will happen is it'll immediately jump back to the touch playlist, and you'll be able to start from there. So this is quite useful just to have like a nice screensaver that's playing maybe a video or something, for example. And then after this been interactive with, it'll begin sort of the information on where people can go to different pages and view website, for example, or open gallery like we have an example here, or play different videos and stuff like that. Um, but after you're happy with this, you can, like the non-touch playlist, you can press preview here and see how it would look, and all the button functionality will work and stuff like that. And then lastly, you can save, and then of course you just want to publish it to the screen like you did with the other playlists.